Lev Vygotsky's Social Development Theory by Matt Baty. Lev Vygotsky was a Russian psychologist. He developed the social development theory, which is a very important method to approaching teaching today. The most important idea to understand in regards to Vygotsky's social development theory is that social interaction is a top priority when applying methods of teaching towards students. The learning area of the brain and the area that interacts socially are correlated. Vygotsky's theory prioritizes that fact and says to have high levels of development of cognition, the learner must have social and cultural experiences to further overall knowledge. These experiences can be thought of as building blocks of all knowledge because, according to Vygotsky, they are a deciding factor to the amount of information a learner can comprehend and store effectively. In this presentation, I will touch on some of the more important ideas in this theory to show how Vygotsky maps efficient learning. These ideas include MKO, the zone of proximal development, scaffolding, language, and culture. MKO. The MKO stands for more knowledgeable other. These individuals are key to Vygotsky's methods because they can be any person or thing that has more knowledge or a higher capability than the learner. Without the MKO, the learner is very restricted to gaining knowledge. In some cases, the MKO can be someone like your mom or your teacher. In these cases, there is a social aspect that fits in as well and enriches the learner simultaneously. In the case of the MKO being a book or the internet, the learner cannot have the double faceted learning that crosses social development with curricular or ability or any sort of knowledgeable instruction. Zone of proximal development. The zone of proximal development is contingent upon the aid of the MKO. A brief summary of the zone of proximal development is with the inner circle, we find the area where the learner is in the comfort zone. They are in an area they can comfortably do all things tasked to them. The next ring or level is the zone of proximal development. In this area, the MKO uses teaching methods to aid the learner and reach the desired content or ability they are trying to learn. During this interaction, the learner can develop many skills, including social and cultural settings, as well as knowledge, skills, and abilities. This concept is a key method in the classroom and gives the option for the learner to learn at the pace he or she desires. Scaffolding. Scaffolding is a technique used by the MKO during the zone of proximal development stage. The idea that the MKO is teaching the learner in a manner that allows the learner to fail or succeed in a sort of guided way. The MKO teaches the knowledge, skill, or ability that the learner is striving for, but instead of the MKO doing everything for the learner so they can cut straight to the chase, the MKO allows the learner to create their own pathway to the solution. So this means that once the student or learner has ascended to the point that he or she can work through the problem, the MKO should withdraw its efforts and allow the student learner to the space to understand the concept and comprehend on their own. It is the MKO's duty to constantly assess whether the learner needs help or whether to become less specific and let the learner grow on their own. Language and culture. As previously said, Vygotsky values social interaction as a top priority in regards to human cognitive abilities. So it's no surprise that he views language as one of the greatest tools ever created. Vygotsky describes three forms of language that can become a category of their own: social speech, private speech, and silent inner speech. Social speech is the beginning keystone of human social development. From the babbling of an infant to a 2-year-old saying he needs to go potty and onward, this speech is quite basic. Private speech is spoken internally, usually for the guidance or of some sort or even inspiration. It is not intended for anyone else but the speaker. Children displaying high levels of private speech have been noted for their levels of achievement. A lot of planning and strategy comes from private speech. Last is silent inner speech. This is not spoken, but a concept of words being said inside one's body. Inner speech is generated by thought, and the two are connected through the words that are spoken inside one's head. Learning language not only allows for high levels of social interaction, it also develops high learning capacities. Bilingual learners have a higher capacity of social development as well as overall knowledge. In conclusion, Vygotsky has created a theory that is very beneficial to teaching students in the classroom setting. The basic idea of scaffolding has been shown very effective because it enables the learner to find their own cognitive path to the solution. Failures and successes along the way should be monitored by the MKO, and their guidance should be adjusted according to optimal learning. Collaborative learning in all levels of education has been shown to be a positive method in the comprehension of all aspects in the realm of desired knowledge, skills, or abilities. Focusing on social development is integral to student success from infancy on. This method can help all learners from adults, complex mechanical design, to a toddler's potty training.